It's been a little while actually since we've done anything on the StreamYard. So it's been a little while. It's been what? It's been 2 months, I guess, since we've done any form of a podcast or even a space heater, much less a regular episode.
I don't even remember if we did anything since Anime North.
We haven't. Not podcast wise. Not on strict with the others.
Yeah,
With
that's
anybody
what I
else other
meant.
than me.
Mhm.
I've just done the odd, almost weekly streams. Not quite weekly, but at worst bi-weekly streams since Anime North. It's been busy. So, and I guess we just want to get back in that some sort of recording routine. So, and just be able to do it in whatever form. I mean, we've all been up to it. Myself, Amy, Mo, James, Kevin, who's doing this with me. We've all been up to it, but it's just a matter of getting schedules in sync again, as usual. Which is always the long-term issue, especially when it comes specifically to me. And in the last 2 months, if you've been watching the stream, you know that my own personal schedule is a little bit more wonky. It's taken a slight turn, probably for the better, and we'll see how this goes for the next couple months. But I think one way to get started is just, well, as James likes to put it, just hit the record button and see what happens. But James is not on the other side of the microphones tonight. It's Kevin, who I know has been busy himself since Anime North.
We're all busy in one way or another.
Yeah, so to quote Cody Rhodes, who just recaptured the WWE title last night. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, lots happened.
Yes. Okay.
We flew through Anime Expo, and San Diego Comic-Con happened as well.
Okay. Do we want to go with the business stuff, or do we want to I know we charted a course initially. Do we? And I guess we're in the manga stop. Do we want to talk the business stuff or the business stuff, or do we want to talk about personal reading and thoughts?
We'll start off with the manga side of the business stuff. I know I'll leave the anime related business stuff to James.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were talking about. Yeah, and that'll be that's likely no later than next week. What I meant was like when we talk, I want to talk manga anyway. But when we talk, how do you want to start? Do you want to start with the announcements from said Anime Expo and Comic-Con? Anything that caught your attention there, and then we can talk about some of our personal readings and what we've done. Okay, let's go through. All right, what caught your attention? Because I just saw some of this myself. I can't admit, or I fully admit I hadn't kept up. But what caught your attention from the list of announcements?
So, earlier during Anime Expo, if I have my facts straight, Studio Khara announced that they were going to do a new Sugar Sugar Rune animated short for the anniversary of that series. Now, what's key here is that Sugar Sugar Rune was created by, or is created by Moyoko Ano, who's also known for doing titles like Happy Mania or Insufficient Direction. A few others, including I think Memoirs of Amorous Gentleman is another one that I would like to read someday. Now, Moyoko Ano is married to famous director Hideaki Anno, who created, among other things, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Studio Khara is his studio, so it makes sense why that's happening.
Yeah.
And so with that, it was finally announced that Udon Entertainment will finally release Sugar Sugar Rune in 2026. Now, here's the thing. Udon Entertainment announced the license for Sugar Sugar Rune back in 2015. So there was some issues they faced along the way. And it's been bandied about on Twitter that they were at one point missing some artwork, and this artwork was apparently not provided to them by Kodansha, because I believe it is a Kodansha work, if I'm not mistaken. So that was always the rumor that, well, not the rumor, that was what was stated by someone who worked at Udon. And that all the other work was done. So the translation, the lettering, the typesetting, all that was done. They were just waiting for the art. And now we see that there was probably other things that came into play like this. At least that's what we're suspecting. But Udon and that panel itself also confirmed that yes, like it is coming out in 2026. There is finally a tentative date of next year for this.
Well, the gap just doesn't seem as bad as, say, the Crosstown Eglinton LRT here in Toronto.
Oh boy. Oh.
I'm just putting that out there.
Oh.
We didn't get to the teenage years on this one.
Oh, I'm trying so hard to not get started on that. Because they said September, and now, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get into this. They said that it was gonna be September, right? Because they stopped announcing tentative dates because even they knew what's the point of giving a date if we know we're not going to hit it. So it seemed they were more confident that they will hit September this time because the TDC has been doing testing on it, like actual, like whatever they call that type of testing, which implies that it's ready. Like that means like they are legit, like it's gonna be ready when they do that type of specific testing. Like they've handed it over to the TDC to do those tests now, which means it's supposed to be ready for the date they projected it at, and now there's delay again.
Light at the end of the tunnel, and then it just gets snuffed out. Anyway.
Yeah, because the supposed rumor was that, for those who aren't aware, and I likely did bring this up in a past episode, but
when didn't we? But okay.
They hit a water tower at Eglinton. That was the rumor.
There's been a bunch of infrastructure issues there, I think.
Like, well, they already fixed the whole resurfacing of the tracks and the pavement, but it's the fact that they hit a water tower at Eglinton, so then they couldn't figure out a way to get rid of all that excess water that was pouring in.
Wish I could tell you.
So then that was the main roadblock, but this was never officially publicized because our premier put a publication ban for that project.
Yeah, well, what the public doesn't know won't hurt them, I guess. Okay. So getting back on track. All right. So I don't know what else to add to Studio Kahara, but it seems like it's a hilarious. There's just some humor. I just find a little bit of humor in all of this, but I don't know what else to make of it, really. I mean, just take the delays as they are, or take the delays at face value, and maybe par for the course for some of these things.
Well, because they said that Taiwan and Italy will also release their versions for 2026.
I sure again somewhere. At least they seem on the same page on something like that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I think it's going to happen, because Udon never gave us a date either, to my recollection.
That's
so. I have confidence that they'll put it out, because they want to make sure they're put a good product too. Because we look at what happened with the Rose of Versailles, that took several years as well, and a lot of that seems to lie with Ryoko Ikeda, because she wanted to make sure that it was to her liking, and to her expectations, which I don't blame her. Can't really blame the creator for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and when your name and when you're Ryoko Ikeda, you probably are in a position to say something like that.
Exactly.
Right? When you've done something, the type of work she's done, it's one of those you can chart your course type things, right?
That's generally the case. Yeah, like I remember reading a quote from Yoshihiro Togashi, who created Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, that once you get that one big hit in your belt, that's when you can start throwing your weight around and you can have that say.
Riko Takahashi, Ichiro Oda,
Masashi Kishimoto,
This goes.
Kentaro Miura.
Yeah, you have that list, and then there's nothing, and maybe more power to them, because sometimes we talk about, well, sometimes the creators don't always have that power. So
Yeah,
there's other issues there, but and a longer story, but yeah, fair enough. Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna bring up Kodansha next.
Ooh, yes.
So,
we briefly talked about that before we hit the record button.
Yes. So they licensed a slew of new titles for print. So some of the notable ones I'll bring up that caught my attention were the 20th anniversary edition of Shugo Chara. So this year, Kodansha brought Peach Pit as a guest of honor. And it was kind of curious as to why they brought them, because they didn't have any new product to release from them. And Peach Pit hasn't made a lot of new stuff as of late. But I guess this was why. So not only did they announce a relicense of Shugo Chara in the form of this like new edition with like nice new covers and gallery art, and there's a new translation as well, but they also licensed the sequel manga, Shugo Chara. What was it called? It's Shugo Chara Jewel Joker. And this is where like the cast has grown up a little bit.
That's good then. I'm just gonna let. By the way, we are experiencing a few technical issues this evening, just for reference. So Kevin might be a bit in and out. Everything's running through my computer as usual again, and well, we'll see where we eventually go with that. Hey, Kevin.
All right. So another thing that Kodansha announced that caught my eye was the Mars 30th anniversary edition.
Yes, this is like these are like headlines. These are things for some people, and this was mentioned on, well, ICV2, right? I mean, I can see the ICV2 entry here for this. So what do you have to say about Mars? Because I know you kept up with this, right?
So Mars was one of those early Tokyo Pop titles that just seemed to have caught on back in the day. Like it was pretty popular when it came out. One of their better selling titles early on in Tokyo Pop's lifetime, under like the Tokyo Pop name. This was before Mix changed to Tokyo Pop. Now, later on, this is like years and years later, so this is probably within the last like few years, Mars got TikTok popular.
So what are we talking? Pandemic era stuff?
Yes. So right during the pandemic, right when it started, people were posting photos of Mars on TikTok, and it got very popular as a result. And before this happened, you could have easily found copies of Mars for like $5, $6, $7 a book. And then suddenly these copies dried up and Mars became very expensive to obtain.
You had copies, didn't you?
Yeah. So funny enough, right before the pandemic, on Boxing Day, 2 months before, I actually repurchased Mars for a meager sum of $25 back in that time. Because I was kind of, for the whole thing, I got very lucky with the listing, and I was pretty nostalgic for it. And I was heading to a family member's place for a family gathering, and it was just on the way. So I made that work. not knowing that 3 months later, like that set was worth $500 US.
But what's the return on that? Jesus Christ.
Well, it dropped since then,
Mhm.
but yeah, I've since sold both my Mars and Shugo Chara sets because I do want those nicer editions. Because for both of these, they are going to give it a new translation, and they're adding like photo galleries. Like they're really going to try and spruce these up. I believe these will be in omnibus format. Mars for sure. I believe Shugo Chara too.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get $500 US for Mars, but I got some money for it.
Cool. It's still not a bad thing. Okay, Young Magazine. We had talked about this just before.
Mhm.
I mean, just before we hit the record button. Young
Yeah.
Magazine. So some people like to call it Shonen Jump's rival. Well, Kodansha is going to bring out Young Magazine now, an English version or a US version.
See, I would say it's more of a competition for Weekly Young Magazine, which was the Shogakukan or Shueisha equivalent. I believe pretty sure it's Shueisha that did Young Jump. Yeah, that's a Young Jump. It's the competition to Young Jump. Yes.
Well,
So these are the ones that are targeting like,
young
adult,
adults.
like
That's
a
what they
young
said,
adult
right?
men. Yeah.
So that's so they'll bring out a version of that here, and I guess it'll be paper too, won't it?
It's interesting how they're gonna do that. Yeah, like I see, makes me wonder what issue they're gonna pick,
And what's going to work?
or if they're just going to make their just own version of it, and then they'll license like 1 or 2 chapters of various different titles to then place in that. Like I don't know. I think it would make more sense to have the first maybe 1 or 2 chapters or 3 chapters of whatever of their legacy titles that are there in that publication.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah. I guess as we get a little closer and as I learn a little bit more about this, I mean, there's even a mention of this on NHK World, right? And how they'll try and go about it. But you know, what's the chances of the of an actual physical copy working here, or are we getting nostalgic because it's physical media again?
I think this is mostly just a one-off.
So you think this won't be like a regular thing?
I don't think so. Okay, I look at right now what's currently in the magazine that I recognize. We have, let's see, Minami K is still serializing? Whoa, that's a throwback.
Yeah, or are they going to start over?
I didn't even know Minami K would be in Young Magazine. Wow, it doesn't seem like that type of that series. Parallel Paradise, which is by Lin Okamoto, the creator of Elfen Lied. That's still going. 7 Shakespeares by Hiro Sakuishi, which is the creator of Back Mongolian Chop Squad. I know Tawawan on Monday. The current Kaiji manga is still happening right now. Under Ninja, I recognize by Kengo Hanazawa, the creator of I Am a Hero. Also coming out by Dempa.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Holoc Ray is technically in the magazine too, but I think that should have gone out of hiatus by now because reportedly Holoc Ray was the title that they were going to resume after they finished Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card.
Okay.
And your boy Kongming as well.
It's so much
the ones I recognize.
Okay.
That are current. If we're talking about old school stuff, you'll probably recognize some of these. So Initial D
is one of them. I know that.
3x3 Eyes was in that magazine. If you remember that series, Mike.
I do. I recognize the title. I don't remember ever watching its OAV. back in the day. I really wonder how many people, how many younger fans under the age of, I'm just going to spitball a number here, under the age of 35 will recognize that title. Okay, 30. 35, okay, maybe 30, over 30 they might. How many people of this generation of fandom will recognize 3x3 Eyes?
People like, see, Mike, I fit that range of demographic. I only knew it by pure chance. None of my other friends knew what the hell that series is.
Yeah, and since the tapes back in the day were like just kicking around, that's how I became familiar with just the name.
See,
so we can go even. So I can go lowball even further under the age of. Oh no, 35 is probably a fair statement. Under the age of 35,
like I can see them doing like a best of, like they might pick some titles that best represent, that were representative of the magazine at the time. So like Akira was serialized in that magazine. Chobits was, Holic was,
the home of, right?
Yeah,
the home of. These are the home of some other legendary titles that now people under the age of 35 would have recognized, right?
Not only Initial D, but Wangan Midnight as well. It's which is similar but not exactly the same, but has its fan base. Some of the Ghost in the Shell like sequel manga were there. So 1.5 and Ghost in the Shell 2 Man Machine Interface. Prison School, one of my favorites.
This goes on and on, but there it is, right?
Some of the later GTO manga as well.
Yeah.
So the last GTO manga, Paradise Lost, was in Young Jump. Is it not Young Jump? Weekly Young magazine.
So this is a label that's kind of important
to them, I guess. Like, it's not to say that see, this is something that, like, you know, most people in the West wouldn't really know about. When it comes to magazines, people really only knew Shonen Jump.
Power to Shogakukan on that one, I guess. But yeah, I mean, just for the sake of brand recognition, right? Shonen Jump's a brand in and of itself.
And the other ones never really developed a brand in the same way. Some have tried, but it never really took off in the same way.
Yeah, so that's why I'm wondering, could this work? Can this really work? I'm not sure, but you know, maybe time, like every attempt is different because of the climate. So,
and I feel like Kodansha, like, my gut tells me that they didn't want to do this for a weekly shonen magazine, because a lot of their stuff is actually pretty pervy. Like, in the sense that, like you look at stuff like Seven Deadly Sins and Fairy Tail and whatnot, and like, usually Shonen Jump doesn't have that many pervy manga, relatively speaking. Whereas it seems like there are a decent amount of titles where, like, you do see that kind of like rom-com shtick. Not all of them, of course, but enough that, like, you can notice that maybe it is like a style, like a house style, and maybe that's not always as palatable, as a product. It depends on, like, if you think that it fits the brand, right? Because you look at with Viz, like, they're not willing to do like the really pervy Shonen Jump series anymore. like your Strawberry 100%, or like they didn't do Ayakashi Triangle after Seven Seas decided to put it out physically. Just for some examples.
Yeah, well, and maybe it's sort of the way the market has shifted, I guess. I mean,
not as if they don't have their place. It's just
they don't have their place. It's just
Viz just didn't want to release that kind of title for their Shonen Jump brand.
Well, it's perceptions, I guess.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
So perceptions in the reality that is here, I guess. So not to say, you know, and you're right. There is a market for it, but that's another story altogether as to reaching that market.
Hmm.
I mean, James would talk a lot about James. I know would be talking about methods of payment and how those are becoming issues these days. So, I mean, he'll trust me. He'll hint on that next week when we talk. Okay. So, anything else you want to bring up, or do we want to talk about some of our personal reads before we move on to the other stuff?
There are a couple more at the very least.
Okay, let's go through these just quickly because we're already almost half an hour in.
So Kodansha is going to also put out the Ghost in the Shell Legacy Edition manga box set. So, as per the Anime News Network article,
because we depend on them a lot.
Yes, for decades, the English and Japanese editions of this masterpiece have never quite matched each other. That finally changes with the Legacy Edition, which restores the pages that have been edited in the original, the Ghost in the Shell Human Error Processor, and the Ghost in the Shell 2.0 Man-Machine Interface. So it restores the pages that had been edited in the original Ghost in the Shell manga. So this implies that the lesbian scene that Shiro Masamune didn't want to have out in the world may finally be in this release.
Maybe back in orbit, more like it, right?
and I'll be honest, those 2 pages are pretty needless, and he stated as such. Masamune Shiro stated that himself. He felt like it really wasn't needed, and so that's why very few international printings of this release has those 2 pages intact.
There's a but. What's the but?
But this may be the time where we see it back. Because I believe it was only one of those earlier Dark Horse print runs that had it. Because at one point, Dark Horse did have the rights to Ghost in the Shell. Because they licensed their other work as well.
Like, is Shiro kind of uncomfortable with this, or just felt it was needless to have those scenes?
I don't remember if it was the fact that he felt uncomfortable as well. I would assume as such.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, why take it out?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I've always loved to talk about George Lucas and the way he keeps reworking scenes from Star Wars.
Or how like Yoshiyuki Tomino really hated that one episode of Mobile Suit Gundam 0079, and that's why you don't see it on a lot of English releases of the series to this day.
Yeah, it's just, well, I mean, it's one thing for somebody else to play with somebody else's work, but what if the original artists has their own impressions too?
That's the thing, and
that's
what can you say at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the original artist having, just saying, okay, if I could do this a second time, this is what I would do, and they are able to act on it.
Yep. So
I mean, I can't really get on Shiro's case for not wanting the scene in there. In that sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
they say in the article too, all 3 are reproduced in a high quality hardcover right to left manga format with all the pages included in the latest version currently in print in Japan. So that's what I'm not sure about, is if the current Japanese print has it or not.
Well, people want it the way that Japanese get to enjoy it. We can play with, and we play with that statement a lot here around the Anime Roundtable.
Because the last release of the Ghost in the Shell hardcover a year or 2 or 3 ago, I don't remember the exact time. That was when they finally unflipped it. So it's not the first time they've unflipped it.
That's kind of legendary in its own sense. Okay.
Yes, it took a long time to get that unflipped. Just same with Akira. So they finally unflipped Akira several years back as well.
Yeah,
but
for that box set. Thanks. Thanks for
And
doing
then quickly from Kodansha, it was they're doing the Omori manga. Omori is a very popular and critically acclaimed video game that you can find on PC, Switch, and I think PS4. Although the Switch version is really hard to find now. And the new
that. And
Ayakano work,
it will probably be more expensive. Sorry.
and the new Ayakano work, Fruit of the Underworld, is they're gonna put out as well. So I know Ayakano through like Otomen and like Requiem of the Rose King. So interesting to see that now their most recent title is through Kodansha. And then also from Yen Press, Battle Royale's coming back in a new deluxe edition. So that's finally getting released from Tokyo Pop Jail.
So having said all of this about Tokyo Pop Jail, what still remains on behind bars there that people might want?
Ooh, I still want Supply, which is a Josei manga that was released towards the end of Tokyo Pop's first run. So I know Kodansha did finish Beck digitally, but I would like a physical release of Beck. I'm trying to think what else.
Well, I mean, my own pie in the sky was always the Kendachi case files or the Kendachi.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's never
going to happen. That's never going to happen. But I'm just
saying, because
a guy can dream. By the way,
word on the street is he's not an easy person to work with.
Oh, the creator?
Yeah, because Shin Kibayashi is not known to be easy to work with. Yeah, that's his actual name, because he uses a bunch of different aliases for his different titles. But for whatever reason, his works haven't seemed to be very palatable to the Western crowd. And
maybe that's because
the latest, yeah, who knows. But Kodansha did finally re-release all of the Drops of God digitally, so I will take solace in that.
Yeah,
I did buy that digitally through Humble Bundle.
Yeah, I did too. I think. Oh, I'll have to look up.
I just want to get the sequel series out in digital at this point too.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they are going to re-release Drops of God physically, but they're because of the recent success with the live action. But so far as I heard, they're only going to release what was already printed. So the first 8 volumes that were done in 4 omnibus volumes from Vertical back in the day, plus the New World, which was like 2 volumes from the 20s.
Okay.
When they were in Napa Valley.
Take what you can, I guess.
Yeah, well, I might rebuy them as well. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Well, keep in mind, and now, and is that all the industry stuff we can talk about for the next bit? Or I know
two more things. So from Yen Press specifically, Takako Shimura's new manga, Scenes from Awajima, is coming out. So that's the creator of Wandering Sun and Aoihana, Sweet Blue Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Still hope we get Wandering Sun back one day. And also, one title I never thought would come back too was the 5-Star Stories.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yes. And not
on the topic of under 35, of being under the age of 35.
And who is bringing that out?
Who?
Titan Manga. So, yeah, they're a newer publisher. They've been known for using some AI translations. So people are kind of like,
They have mixed feelings. So there's going to be a few mixed feelings here.
But I feel like Mamoru Nagano would not appreciate that if they went that route. So I like to think that won't happen to the 5-Star Stories. But
well, yeah. How much can they push their weight around then?
Mm-hmm. See,
Squirrely's going to be on high alert, by the way, if she hears this.
Yeah, because like I don't think many people would have watched that old OAV from 1989, and this was a Kadokawa title, so 18. Apparently, there are now 18 volumes. So the volume 18 just got released as of March of this year, but it's been on a lot of hiatuses.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am curious how this will turn out because, yeah, people were thinking that this would have been just much too expensive and maybe not worth it. So it makes you wonder how this came about.
Surely there's a story, and we all want to hear it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's that's all the things that caught my eye. I didn't really pay attention to SDCC, so I'll leave that up to James if there was any news.
Okay. Okay, so on the personal level, or do you want on the personal level? Well, first of all, in the streams, I never hid that my birthday passed in July, so I'll put it out here because that kind of sets the table for the rest of the story I'm going to tell. And I got the proper Indigo coupons for that, and I went on a book buying spree. 42
Did you have
books.
Plus?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so it's stacked. Nice. So
yeah, I stacked it for
20.5%.
20 and then 20 plus, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 20 is 10% off of the 20, so 28.5.
Mm-hmm. So I get that. So I ended up going on the book spree, and it was like 42 books.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's the sad part? There are things that I missed, but that's but that's after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all my buying is based on stuff that I'd recently started watching too, or had been watching. So back in May, I mentioned Blue Box. In the last little while, I'd watched episodes of My Dress Up Darling, and yes, I did finish the first season. I do have a Crunchyroll subscription right now. Okay. I did on a month to month, but I'll probably go annual because I've enjoyed having it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll talk more about having that subscription again later on, but like like to you guys in a future in a future recording, and I talk about it already in the stream. So I have that. So I have that. I was able to get a nice deal, like a nice deal on the first 9 volumes of that, and then I caught up in the book buying spree.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
And then one other series, and I haven't mentioned it enough to you guys, although I think I've mentioned it on stream as well. And this rounds out pretty much all my buying so far.
Okay.
Is Alia sometimes what's the phrase? What's the full title again? Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. But and I got the manga has only come out in 1 volume, but it's like at least eight volumes or something in the light novel, but it had me thinking about light novels again, right?
Okay.
So it had me thinking about light novels, and I kind of expressed a lot of my thoughts on that in the stream. So I'm going to express them to you because you know this. You probably have a better sense of this than I do at this stage. And even Amy chimed in during the streams, and I'll give you a thought from her in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, there's this, and I did finish the anime version of my stepmom's daughter is my ex. So I finished that, and they're probably not going to make any more of the anime, which means you want to know the rest of the story. That light novel is only available digitally in English. So on the topic of buying digital, right? On the topic of buying digital, so I might Kindle, and there's a good possibility I may Kindle that in the very near future, just to read the whole story again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna read. Can I read Amy's thought to you?
Sure.
And then maybe that'll kind of set the course as to where we're going, where we'll eventually go with this.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a sec. I'm just pulling up the exact phrase that she used. Light novels are too anime for book fans and not anime enough for nerds. So it had because I asked her that. I asked her, okay, why hasn't light novels gotten the type of love? Does it get the type of love that the in our fandom, in our ecosystem, in the fandom's ecosystem, in the media mix?
Mhm.
Does it get that type of love? And if not, well, it's been almost 20 years, and the whole notion of the whole concept of the light novel to Western fans is almost 20 years old with Haruhi, right? We started
Yeah.
to understand the importance of light novels as a vis-a-vis anime and lesser extent and lesser extent manga. But we started to understand the concept of light novels being the basis for anime with Haruhi, even though it had already existed for some time before that. But Western fans started to become aware of it with Haruhi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we haven't really seen too much, or have we seen enough? Have we seen a fair number? Or has light novels not really taken off, or is it still working on it? And it's just one of the things that just you have to you have to be patient with it. With light novels in the English speaking world or in the West outside of Japan.
I do feel like light novels are as big as they've ever been.
Like, could it have been? Should it have been? Should it be bigger? Or should it have gotten bigger over the nearly we're almost 17 years now that we've been aware of the concept. Oh, Kevin's cut off again, by the way.
It's definitely grown a lot more than in the past.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and that's I guess where I am. I mean, some anime have been adapted into novels. So a lot of Makoto Shinkai's stuff have been adapted into light novels. Stuff he's written himself, actually. And Toradora is sitting here on my bookshelf. Alia, I'll probably start reading in the very near future. Haruhi, I want to start going back on. So, am I worrying too much about the concept? And this is just something that's still in a phase, a feeling out phase, but we'll get somewhere with it. We are getting somewhere with it.
I think we've really gone somewhere. Like it's definitely better than before. Like I look at how back in the day, like Viz canceled the Shakugan no Shana manga. Like they tried, they put it a few volumes. I guess it didn't do well enough for their liking, so then they stopped. And Seven Seas early on put out light novels too, and they didn't do that well.
But
times have changed.
Yeah, and I think with our understanding and with fandom's increased understanding of the and wanting to put this in their own part of their media mix, I guess we're getting somewhere. But
and even Tokyo Pop made their attempts over the years too.
Sure,
they
did early
NHK. They did Full Metal Panic.
Mm-hmm.
Not technically a light novel, but they did the 12 Kingdoms. That's a novel series, I would say, or I would argue.
They adapted some Love Hina stories into light novels.
Yep. Scrap Princess as well.
Mm-hmm. So
a few others that I don't remember the names of, but I don't think had like corresponding anime tied to them.
Yeah. So there's that. So I guess wanting to read it, there's nothing wrong with saying you want to read it. What's the stigma? Because I read stories about, okay, there's a stigma about light novels within fandom. Like, I mean, Amy's statement may have hinted some of that, but.
Well, you look at it this way. Light novels are targeted to a younger demographic. They are targeted to teenagers. So you can imagine the subject material not being as sophisticated most of the time.
I've had this conversation about demographic, I guess,
and we have a plethora of examples of all these different light novels where, it's a very standard shonen or isekai or
because the tropes, the genre is always either rom-com or isekai. There's rarely anything else.
and the characters are often in their teens
Mm-hmm.
because that's the age group that tends to be reading these more often, or at least that's who they're targeting. Of course, adults read them too, but they're not considered. That's why they add the word light to them, right? Like they added the occasional image here and there to give the reader a bit of a visual break.
Yeah, they're past the yeah, like when we think of young of novels directed at young people, at kids, we see it when we go inside a bookstore, we see the kids section, right? And they have those they had novels that were directed at grade schoolers.
Yeah, like you look at like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Maybe you think of Holes,
Babysitter's Club.
You think of Harry Potter by She Who Must Not Be Named, and then who else? I'm not very like
Goosebumps, R.L. Stine.
Oh, that's a very young crowd. I'm trying to think of like YA stuff, like things like
and this would in light novels would
what's the Hunger Games? Yeah, like things like the Hunger Games.
Susan Collins. So Divergent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and where would light novels start to sit? And you hit it again, but let's go back there for one more time, right? So
I'd say you're looking at your like 12 to like 18-year-old demographic, or 12 to 17, I guess, if we're counting by North American demographics.
Okay.
Like young people.
Yeah, younger
people. You can include college-aged people there too, university age.
I think we can start. I think that's because I was thinking just past the obvious, right? So, yeah, I probably would go with the college age because that's also the square demographic. That's the squared up demographic for a lot of our fandom too, right? Matter of fact, I was thinking that would have been the floor. It's maybe the mid. Well, I mean, I just think it's safe to start to think college age too, like so easily late teens into the 20s, and maybe that's probably the demographic. And we never really thought of novels. We never thought of novels in the Western sense, very specifically at that demographic, at the just past teen group demographic. So even for like college age 20s. We never really thought of anything specific, but with anime and manga's demographic squarely there, it's not a stretch to think about having just the traditional print novel kind of squared up that way. And maybe and have it over and then use that to ultimately overlap with what is already established, what has now firmly established in terms of anime and manga, right? I mean, that's a theory. I don't know. I could be wrong. I always say that, saying I could be wrong. I'm just trying to understand it. That's all. Like from what I know now, right? But I also say this and obviously I can only speak anecdotally because I've always had a curiosity, and I haven't really sat down. I've read the first volume of Toradora, and and my regret is I haven't continued. But now, having watched, and this is the beauty of the anime and manga ecosystem, right? One core property ends up being an advertisement for another core property, much less its merchandise, right? So here I am having watched episodes of Alia, and now I want to know more of the story. And I know I won't know much. I won't know too much of the story through the anime, but we know there's access to it. And now I want to read the light novels, which has advanced the story way much further. Right?
Yeah.
Blue Box ended up, and this is not a light novel, but Blue Box was a beauty because after watching the anime, I ended up going on a buying spree for the manga, and then finally finishing my stepmom's, and then now I want to read the novels.
It didn't
But,
surprise me at all that you enjoy Blue Box. It's it is the eyes slash video girl eye of its current generation. I feel.
well, it's not as pervy.
Yeah, but in terms of its
because Masakazu
tone,
Katsura, yeah, in terms of its tone, sure, but
it's a more romantic tone, or I guess I would even say Kimagure Orange Road because that is technically a Shonen Jump series too.
yeah,
Although KOR it was also had its pervy moments, but it wasn't like it's less steeped in comedy like Nisekoi, and it's not outright horny like Ayakashi Triangle or To Love Ru.
true.
So that's how I always separated the three like types of romance series that they did in Shonen Jump. It was either your like more romance focused like Eyes, or your more romantic aspect like Nisekoi, and then you had your like raunchy romantic comedies like Strawberry 100% or like Ayakashi Triangle or To Love Ru.
Well, I mean, she made. Amy kind of made fun saying, "Okay, you're all about, you're all about 5 centimeters." Which, by the way, I bought another version of that.
Yeah, I bought that hardcover a while ago as well.
Too.
I sold my paperback and then bought the hardcover.
I still have the paperback. I don't know what I should do with it. Probably sell it. $5.
I sold it for like 15, I think, or like 12 or something like that. I don't remember. It was like $10. It was like at least $10 and I sold it for.
Okay. So she joked with me, you're all about, 5 centimeters, Kimagure Orange Road, and the show with Freckles as its theme song.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
So she's always wondering, okay, what else is in there? What else is in my sphere in that sense? And I always said Maizani Koku was always one of those, but then
I
associate
with Koku.
Yeah, you associate me with Maizani Koku, but she started to associate Kaguya-sama with me as well.
Oh, okay.
And I guess that's a fair statement. I've started rereading the manga, but maybe depending on how Blue Box eventually goes, that could be now in that orbit. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Okay, but there it is. Yeah, that's what I want to at least mention in terms of the stuff I'm reading and watching, and I'll keep you informed a little bit more as I keep watching stuff.
I've made no time other than Chainsaw Man.
Good for you. At least you're nothing wrong with that because I know you've kept busy. We've all kept busy. Right?
I've been playing some Switch recently instead, so I kind of was in a video game mood. So I've just been slowly completing Pikmin 4, and I actually picked up the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy for Switch a while back. So I had some nostalgia for Crash lately, so I found it for a good price. And then I should have started from the very first Crash Bandicoot, but nope, I just jumped straight to Warped because that was the first Crash Bandicoot I played.
What can you do? Well, I mean, I might start Yakuza 3 this month. So, and
I'll finish Kiwami 2?
Long ago. I finished the main plot, but I just haven't platinumed out, right?
Okay.
So Kiwami 2, I guess here's the subject for the next stream. And the over-under, and this could be hilarious. There's one final Haruka's challenge that I wanted to finish. And it's perfecting the golf challenge, right? There's a golf mini game. You have to. It's called the bingo challenge, and you have to hit 9 targets in 10 shots.
Oh, okay.
That's that. You have to have a perfect score in it. So 9 targets and 10 shots. I might challenge myself, and I do an entire stream trying to figure that out, and I won't stop until I do. And the over/under could be will it be longer? Will that stream be longer than this recording, or will that attempt take longer than this recording? And we're almost at an hour. That's the thing. And I get the feeling whatever this ends at, that stream will be over anyway. will be on the over anyway. So, but that's charting the course for the future streams. Okay, so I know we've talked at length about manga for the last hour. Do we want to talk about the other two stuff we thought we would be on the agenda briefly, or do you want to now save those for another day?
I don't mind. I feel like, given the recency of some of this stuff, I feel like it should be brought up sooner rather than God knows when we'll record again.
Okay, we got a little bit. Okay, let's try and squeeze it in then. You were at the Blackpink concert.
Among others, yes.
Okay. Well, you've gone concert hopping. Okay, let's start with Blackpink because that was the bigger one. I know you went to see something else over the weekend. You can mention that at your own leisure if you want. And I know you've seen a couple of others. Can I just ask a question and then you can
go for it?
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No worries. Go for it.
I just want to see what because this is I just want to see your basic take because I said this in the stream and I want to just see what you'd say when I ask you. Yes or no? Yes, Blackpink is probably the biggest K-pop event to happen in Toronto this year. When ITZY happened last year, was that the biggest K-pop event to happen in Toronto? Like, there's little doubt what is this year in 2025. It just happened. It happened a couple weeks ago at Rogers Stadium. But was ITZY was ITZY the big K-pop event in Toronto last year? Because we talked at length about it when it around the time it happened in June last year.
I'm trying to remember if 17 performed in Toronto in 2024 or 2023. Let's see. Because I would argue that 17 is bigger than ITZY. 17 is a very popular boy group that does not have 17 members. I think they have 13. But
the others were caught in scandal. Okay.
I think they always debuted with 13, if I'm not mistaken. So then they're a very successful Korean boy band group. And I've seen them live in 2019 briefly when they were newer. Not like new, but new-ish. And they can really put on a show. And all their members renewed their contracts back during contract renewals, which happened within the past 3-4 years, if I'm not mistaken. But they, I think, did play at the ACC.
That in 24?
If they did, if it was 2024. I'm trying to double check right now. But let's see.
I guess we bring up ITZY because there's just so much bias about everything that surrounded that, right? For us, from where it happened and our own experience from that night, from those nights, right? Having been around the venue at the time, and plus where the venue was, so close to the being at Great Canadian Casino Resort Toronto, being at Woodbine Racetrack, which is a stone's throw away from the Anime North compound, right?
Okay, I was off by 2 years. It was in 2022. My mistake.
Okay.
So then it probably was ITZY.
So you would say maybe. So you're in general. So you would think maybe, certainly, definitely, maybe ITZY was the biggest thing in 2024.
Let me see if I can pull up a list quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, it may have been ITZY.
Okay.
I just can't think of anyone that would have been bigger.
All right. Well, but there's little doubt about 2025. Your perspective.
Oh,
What do you want to say about the Blackpink concert? Aside from it was in the middle of nowhere, as according to Chris Martin.
So, I'd say Stray Kids was comparable.
You went to that?
Yeah, I did. They were the first concert held at Rogers Stadium. That was the true first test of their facilities.
Yeah, and in many respects, it failed it fell short in some respects too.
Yes,
like that was news here in Toronto, by the way, just for reference to our outside listeners.
It's funny because a lot of news outlets, when they brought up how Coldplay was coming, and they didn't even name the Stray Kids concert for most of the most of the news sites didn't even mention Stray Kids. Some
Not
did
much.
later on, but
Yeah,
I'm
not
just
much.
like, well, what's so hard to just name the concert? Like,
What's so
it
hard
made
to
no
name
sense
the
to me.
concerts that like we are talking about a Rogers Stadium is on Downsview, and I when Chris Martin leveled his criticism about the location of the place and the being in the middle of nowhere. Keep in mind, this is the same. These are I joked, this is holy ground. It literally is holy ground. The Pope did a mass there. Pope John Paul did a mass there towards the end of his life, and the Rolling Stones did a concert there. I think did Starstock there. So, I mean, he is talking holy ground as much as he wanted to make fun of it, if I remember correctly. So, but the thing is, building that facility has come with a degree of controversy because, there's a NIMBY aspect to it because the residents didn't care for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of all the noise. But it is a temporary venue, and they needed the space to be able to have these type of concerts because Rogers Center is only available for so many dates.
Yeah.
They can't make Rogers Center available in the same way. And honestly, right now Rogers Center is kind of busy with the Jays playing so well right now, and they are up 9-0, I think, on tonight, just for reference. So, despite the struggles last week, right? So, the presence of that venue made a lot of news. So yeah, saying, mentioning all of the stuff that was going on would have been cool too. But no, it's about Coldplay and Oasis, I guess. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, and that's not to say, and they're not the bookends. Like Coldplay wasn't the first. You're right. Stray Kids was the first concert, not Coldplay. Oasis, I think, will close out Rogers Stadium, and then they'll be dismantled for the season, if not gone altogether. But there's been a bunch of other acts, right? And Blackpink was another. What else is the lineup for Rogers Stadium this year? Like, I know those weren't the only ones. So,
well, famous women beater Chris Brown.
Oh,
for one.
Okay.
Because looks like a lot of people forgot that happened. I think System of a Down as well.
Yeah, System of a Down in early September. And Hozier,
yep. Take Me to Church guy. But he's made some other good songs too.
Yeah.
Oasis.
And Oasis will be here at the end of the month. And I think that's Sunday and Monday. Is that Fan Expo time?
Right before. So the Woman Beater is performing on August 19th and 20th. And then
Oasis, System of a Down, and Hozier.
Yeah, it's the Sunday of Fan Expo.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so what was the okay? So let's go back to Blackpink since that passed. What was your take on that? 2 nights.
Okay,
you went to the second night. I know that.
I went to day 2, and in comparison to like just the general facility stuff, it was definitely more ironed out, and they did things a lot better. So traffic flow to the different parts were better. More water fountains, more water stations. The bathrooms were better in the sense that the soap was in the soap dispensers, unlike Stray Kids, where I had to go look for the soap bottle that was just on the floor by the towels. What else? This time I learned my lesson, and I did not go to Downsview Station to take the subway to Shepherd West, where I parked because I have friends that live there. I just walked straight there this time.
It was quicker.
A lot quicker.
Okay.
Because the thing is that on the way there, you had to go all the way around it to like a side entrance and then cut through. But I think this did happen on night one, like for Stray Kids. They actually opened up one of those streets that were much closer to my friend's place when everyone was leaving. I think I just wasn't aware of it. But since I was now aware of it, I just went out that way rather than following the huge mass of people to Downsview Station, where both the TTC and the GO station are. Where Shepherd West is just the subway for TTC.
Well, I mean, it was free rides, I guess. So paid for by Live Nation. Part of your ticket, probably.
As for the concert itself, I did enjoy it overall. Now, here's the thing too. So I'll preface in that Blackpink was what got me into K-pop. All throughout university, I did not listen to K-pop very often because I was just too into my J-rock and J-pop stuff because, I was into anime. Whereas my friends were into a lot of what we say the Gen 2 K-pop acts back then. So groups like 2NE1 and Tiara and Girls' Generation. And
where would Wonder Girls have been?
Probably I don't know if they're. I would say they're maybe Generation 1, if not like late 1, early 2. I actually don't know where they're slotted. You could make the case that they're Gen 2. I kind of think they're maybe a bit earlier than that, but probably Gen 2.
Okay, because that's the group I kind of became familiar with Tap Tap Generation, Generation, or whatever that game was.
Okay, Dance Dance Revolution.
Well, no, there was like one of the early IO like smartphone rhythm games, right? Called Tap Tap.
Oh, okay.
Which but its studio then bought out by Disney, and then Disney shut down the game.
Oh, okay.
Long story there. But they had a license with Wonder Girls at the time, and that was at a point, and we're talking 2010-ish. And so we're talking at a point where not many where we didn't really talk about the K-pop scene was there, but not there, right?
Okay, yeah. Quick Google search. Yes, they're considered Gen 2.
Okay. All right. So
I just avoided Gen 2 because that was just not really what I was into. Like, it's, some songs were interesting and were catchy, but I just didn't particularly care for K-pop. And then I only got into Blackpink because a couple of people in that I know through a men's fashion message board, they would use Blackpink in certain memes, and then they would just use GIFs of them in discussion. And I was like, who the hell is Blackpink? And then I looked them up, and then it was all over from there. But then I had since gotten into like other groups. So Blackpink was my gateway, but I see Mamamoo as my favorite.
Yeah, Mamamoo is always somebody you always bring up, right?
Mm-hmm. Love those ladies. Super talented. They all can sing well. But so I saw Blackpink before the pandemic. Blackpink at that time did not have enough songs to fill up a concert with. Now they do. And now they have their own singles to boot. So I didn't watch their second show, but this is the third show that they've been in the GTA. So I never like when people do covers
as part of a concert.
Yeah, not my preference unless they really kill it and you convince me otherwise. But so that happened last night, but I'll get to that later. So I feel like honestly, with the overall presentation, like I feel like they're like they showed a lot of video, right? But they're like you can make the case that they didn't use that many like if you cared about like stage props and stuff, this was not the concert for you. I think they sung just about every song that people liked or cared about. They actually sung some songs that I really like that aren't as popular. So Forever Young was one of those songs for me. What else? I have to like pull up their set list because I don't remember that well. But
I know you're looking this up. I can hear your keyboard in the background there.
let's quickly look at this. So yep, Forever Young, and you see this is how I can't claim to be a big fan anymore. I'm not even remembering all their songs anymore.
I mean, I had a bunch of other friends go too, and I hear different things about that.
Yeah, and they did Don't Know What to Do. That was the other like song I really like that's not as popular. I feel
you didn't get sunburned, did you?
I don't think I did. I put sunscreen on.
Good.
But
I had some friends who did.
I was counting on them to like sing Whistle and Boombayah, which they did, although they actually shortened Boombayah, which kind of annoyed me, but fine.
Yeah, that seems to be a favorite among a lot of people too. I mean, Emily Tang, who is a semi-popular streamer. Her boyfriend I think is a more well-known, but she was with she was a reporter for Overwatch Esports, and I'm a fan, and I do watch her Twitch stream every so often. She often does whenever she does Just Dance, she often plays Just Dance, but Boombayah is always one song she'll put in that list every single time.
Boombayah was their very first song.
Yeah. So that's one that's I know of that song mainly through her. But and I thought that was the signature song. It sounds like it is at the very least, but they kind of downplayed it.
Rosé's "Toxic Till the End" was also shortened, which my sister was not happy with because she loves that song too. But but overall song selection very good. Now, when it comes to like the mid, like intermissions and interludes and stuff, Rosé did all the talking. I felt, which I thought was
they all can speak English though, right? From what I remember, do they all speak English well? I mean, I've never watched a documentary.
Jisoo does not, but the other three do.
Okay.
It felt like as if Jenny and Lisa kind of just let Rosé do all the talking. Like she did almost all of the audience engagement in the end.
Well,
so that that rubs me the wrong way a little bit.
Yeah, but she had the single with Bruno Mars too, right?
Yeah, she is definitely the most popular one at this moment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, I wondered about that fact too. So okay,
like that song blew up, and it's evident too because each singer had their own solo segment, and they put Rosé last.
Sure. Well, that makes sense, I guess. As I said, for the moment, that makes sense. So I guess that there's much else. Anything else you want to add about the concert? I do know a little bit about some of the stuff that happened at some of the after stuff.
It just felt like they more or less just like went through all the songs and kind of just pushed them all through. There wasn't too much, like I said, not enough audience engagement beyond like Rosé talking. Rosé did a cute little segment before one of her songs where she was actually backstage. So it actually showed her, they were like live streaming her backstage, like going towards the outside of the stage to start her act. So that was cute. A bunch of videos played during interludes, which is fine because like it uses a lot of the imaging of the like tour.
Well, this is like a thing for these type of concerts, I guess. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about that with the ITZY concert last year too.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's just I think there really was not much excuse for Jenny and Lisa to not talk to the audience more, assuming that they weren't. This is assuming that there was nothing going on that we're not aware of.
Okay,
But overall, good time, I would
Mhm.
say. I thought the Stray Kids concert was more engaging. They used more pyrotechnics. There's a segment of the concert where the boys hopped onto like one of those like crane carts, and they actually drove around the perimeter of the floor seating, which I was not expecting. That was like a great touch for because that meant like people at the back who could barely even see them, like actually got a chance to see them up close. I thought that was really nice.
Way to use the stadium, I guess. Way to use the space, especially for something that was just literally put together, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I do know from some of the after stuff, they did go around North York a little bit. So they were spotted at a few places along Yonge Street.
So I heard, yeah.
Yeah. Daldone, which is a popular barbecue. Yeah, that's a popular barbecue chain, I guess, local chain here.
Yeah, they're a generally higher quality Korean barbecue place. It's just not all you can eat, in the sense that like you don't pay one flat fee to get everything. You pay per item there.
Yeah. And then they were at Hagune, which is a 24-hour. I've been to Hagune quite a few times, right, with friends. So that's a 24-hour Korean restaurant on in the Yonge and almost Yonge and Finch, I guess.
Okay.
In the Yonge Finch area. And the thing is, that place is open 24 hours. There's video of two of the members. I forgot which two leaving. But then people were joking, well, no wonder why there was a lineup in front of Hagune tonight. Because you usually can just walk in. It's popular and it does get busy, but there's hardly ever been a long lineup to get in. Right? There's probably a small, there's been the odd small lineup, but there hasn't been, a long one, I guess.
So I wonder what happened in the sense that, like, did they have to book the place and not let people in, or they?
No, I think they just went. Mind you, they did have their entourage. They did have their usual, protection, I guess, and security and entourage. But I forgot which two members it was. It's just that it was kind of impromptu, I guess. There was no the reports I understand it is there were no reservations or anything like that. So whoever was there, like they might have reserved a table, but they didn't close off the restaurant. Whoever was already there was there, right? If you were just a regular patron, they might have reserved a table. It's entirely possible they reserved a table, but they didn't close the restaurant.
Okay.
So, and people knew they were there, and so there was a bit of a small crowd. I think there was a small crowd of people to see them off when they were done. Hagune is a nice place.
Okay, I've never been. Like, I don't recall having been there.
I can give it a thumbs up. I'll give it a thumbs up for sure. Worth going to now. And then now you can step in a place where Blackpink was. Anyway, so that's I guess some of the basics. I'm glad to hear you didn't get hurt.
I'm glad I didn't get hurt either.
Yeah. Okay. So, but this isn't the only concert you've seen in the last little bit. Asian pop, anyway. When it comes to Asian concerts. Well, anything else you want to bring up? Well, you mentioned it to us already, but
yeah. So Otto finally came.
Otto, we've talked about Otto a couple times on the podcast. So she was here in Toronto on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you call it it's called Scotiabank Arena, but you call it ACC still, right?
Yep, I always call things by
their original
name. It was when I knew about them, because so I will always call so I know it used to be called the Hummingbird Center, but I will call it the Sony Center because that's what I knew it as when I first became aware of it.
Is it? I don't think it's called. I think it's called the Meridian Center now. Right?
Yep, now it's the Meridian Hall, I think.
Well, I knew it as the O'Keefe Center, just for reference.
And that was the other name, yeah.
Yeah, the brew, and that at the time that was a brewery. Molson bought it out.
Mm,
Oh, and then okay, Sky Dome, not Rogers Center.
yep.
So would you refer to a Rogers Stadium as just Downsview?
Downsview International Airport, Downsview Airport. I guess might have to just call it Downsview Airport. Yeah.
So
Although it's not being used as an airport
it's not
anymore.
used as an airport these days, but that's why I just call it Downsview.
You know, I never understood why Rogers just couldn't have called it the Rogers Skydome.
Or the Rogers Dome or something like that. Yeah.
Like Rogers Skydome would have been fine. People wouldn't have bitched about it, but they just
You're
had to
right.
be.
You're right.
It had to be boring and just call it the Rogers Center.
Well, it sounds because when you say center in this context, you think of an indoor arena, not an outdoor arena, not an outdoor stadium. Right?
Was Ted still alive when they bought that? I don't remember. Or when they bought the naming rights?
I believe he was. Yeah, because that was with the naming rights. And no, he might have been still alive at that point. Yeah, when when he took over Rogers Center.
I don't get it. Could have just kept it as Skydome. Just call it Rogers Skydome. Like that's how easy would that have been? That would have been so easy. But in any case,
okay.
So yeah, so Otto sold out.
That's good then.
There were some pockets of suspiciously empty seats that probably were reserved for VIPs who didn't show up. But otherwise, it was labeled as sold out because I remember checking maybe like a week or two before, and there were barely any like official Ticketmaster seats left. So yeah, that it sold out. So I'm glad that she did because I wasn't sure if she could.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was me underestimating how popular Otto is because yeah, like it's pretty electric crowd. Like I came in maybe 15 minutes before the start, got in pretty smoothly, opted not to get merch at the time. So I met up with my friend, and I'm also caught up with another old coworker of mine. Strictly no photography of this concert.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on par for most Japanese performers when it's a bigger crowd, but especially for Otto because she doesn't want anyone to see her face. And
well, we've talked about the way Otto likes to be.
Yeah, so Otto is one of those acts that does not want her identity to be known. So, granted, when you see her on the stage, she's like you only see her shadow. You don't see what she actually looks like. Mm-hmm. But yes, they apparently were very strict with the no photography. They would kick people out if they did. I don't know if anybody did, but that was the warning given. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as Homer Simpson likes to say, I think Homer Simpson has said this, or somebody else. It's only wrong if you're caught.
Mm-hmm.
Or either that, or that's for the courts to decide.
Yeah.
One or the other. Anything, but all right, on the enjoyable scale, how enjoyable was it?
Ooh, pretty enjoyable for the most part. So I also was at one point criticizing the lack of audience engagement. So I'd say that was rectified towards the end because she briefly introduced herself after I think the third or fourth song, and then so she finally introduced the band like towards the like end of the initial set. So when really almost no talking at all. So it wasn't until like maybe a few songs before the supposed end of the concerts when she did actually start talking to the audience. Like, and it's cute in the sense that, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way. It's cute to see that she did definitely have like a prepared script of certain things she wanted to say, and so that was where her English came out quite well. Her English was pretty good. And then it was the more ad lib stuff where that was when she really struggled. So that was adorable in its own way.
Yeah, the concert goers would understand that, right? They would understand. Most people would understand what they're in for if they read up enough, right? And I think that's probably part of the charm. I think people were okay with that, and that ended up actually being part of the charm.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Any criticisms? Do you have any aside from the lack of aside from the engagement issues?
So that rectified itself towards the end because she did talk at a decent length with us almost towards the end of the last set, if not even the last song. And then they did an encore, and then she actually went on a pretty long speech before the true last song. While I will say it was a bit long-winded, I do think it truly was heartfelt because she did talk about her beginnings and how she really had her doubts as to whether or not she would be doing this line of work in the beginning. Because she'd bring about how she used to sing in her closet, and her mom would tell her to stop being so loud, and then now look at her.
Yeah, it's a small living now, right?
And then she was trying to evoke some positivity, saying hey, trying to tell people not to give up on their dreams and to know that they, even if you're alone, that it's okay.
It sounds like she touched a nerve in a good way.
Yeah, because she mentioned how there were
a degree of perseverance.
There were numerous times where she felt alone on this journey.
Yeah, and if you've read any parts of her story, maybe this is par for the course. Like she is a very complex and introverted, I guess, in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like that picture had been long painted to me anyway, and put herself. She in some ways laid herself bare to some in talking in these terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's I've hardly listened to her songs, but reading about her, she just sounds like everything about her spot in the J-pop industry.
And
it's just fascinating.
And at one point, she was worried that people wouldn't really like her style, how she likes to deliver her vocals, because she will have her moments where she kind of does some screaming and maybe you can even call it yodeling at times. It's she definitely has her moments where she's just kind of yells out her lyrics or yells out her notes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very guttural scream at times, and it kind of fits. It's actually it reminds me of the way Usan or Unnamed, how they deliver their vocals when they sing.
Well, maybe it's part of the evolution of Japanese pop music as well. We have to kind of everything shifts, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
constantly shifts. So maybe this is how it's shifting here.
And I'd say pretty good song selection. I don't know all her songs either, but she definitely played most of the hits. So there were a few One Piece songs. I think she did at least 3 of those, and then
well, she's associated with it.
Yep, and then my friend mentioned that she even did a song that's tied to Beyblade, because there's a new Beyblade series, and I guess she did do a song for that.
That's pretty cool. Well, anything else to add? I don't know what else.
She did a really great cover of Chandelier by Sia.
Well, you almost talked a little bit about covers. So, what is there criticism about doing too many covers, or is it just once again You hate covers unless they really kill it.
Yeah, so I generally, like I said, I generally hate when people do covers during concerts because I didn't come here to listen to like you performing other people's songs. I want to hear your songs, right? But it really fit for me because not only did it kind of fit with her general vibe and her narrative, she was literally in a cage too. And so those who've watched the Chandelier music video, yeah, those two dancers are doing their dance in a cage as well. So it just felt it was very fitting. Because who are this? So because in the music video there's one man and one woman, and the man is I forgot his name, but he's Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay. I know Freddie Muntz. I think that was his name.
Let's double check.
Freddie Muntz, I believe his name is. But yeah.
So Maddie Ziegler was the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I was thinking of. Oh, I forgot. It was the other song where it was her and the Malcolm in the Middle guy. I misremembered. I think it's just Maddie Ziegler. Yeah, it's only Maddie Ziegler in Chandelier.
Okay.
It's one of the other songs where the Malcolm in the Middle guy is in that one with her, I think.
Okay. I'm trying to make sense of it because now this is stuff that I can't say I know much of it myself. So
It was Elastic Heart. There you go. I had to do my quick Google search. And it was Shia LaBeouf. I can't believe I forgot Shia LaBeouf's name. But what else? Yeah, my friend went to go buy merch earlier on. He went bright and early in the morning to get merch. I decided to settle for a tote bag at the end. I actually wasn't gonna buy anything, but then I kind of did like the graphic that they used for the Hibana tour, so I was like, okay, I'll buy that in a tote bag.
And that's your souvenir.
Yeah, I actually was thinking maybe I'd buy a shirt too, but they sold out of mediums by then, so I let it go. I didn't care too much.
Yeah. Well, you got something, and you got something, a memento for the occasion. So
Yeah,
anyway,
decent sized tote bag. It is kind of expensive for what it is, but that's fine.
it's the way it works. I mean, that's how they make their money.
That's how they make their money.
Yeah, it's not through the streams these days. So I don't know that much.
Yeah, I do like the video that they used as well, like in the background throughout the songs. Although a number of times, like the same animations were repeated, which did that like that's something I definitely noticed that irked me a bit. But whatever, I'll live. And and Otto also has her own light stick, so you could use the light stick at various points during the concert. And it was interesting to see some of the more like experienced Wotage light stick users just going at it with the technique. Sometimes I was distracted by them.
I am. Well, I'm kind of speechless to come up with something smarmy to say. Anyway, but I guess there's not much else to add. Any other Asian pop concerts, Asian music concerts that might coming up that might be worth mentioning before we move away from it and talk about one last thing before we go?
Well, Baby Monster is coming up soon. They're the new girl group from YG Entertainment, who created Blackpink.
Mm-hmm. Where are they appearing?
I'm trying to remember where they're going.
Baby, what are they called again? Baby
Monster. Oh, they're at the end of August.
Where?
Looks like it's gonna be at the ACC, actually.
Oh, okay.
Although I noticed they had a lot of tickets discounted at one point, so there's some tickets that were floating out for $39.50 all in. So that's not a good sign, actually. Granted, Blackpink's ticket prices also dropped steadily towards the show, but then that's because they had fucking $800-$900 tickets though.
Yeah, and pissed off a bunch of fans who did buy and pay those prices. So,
Mhm.
but
But
this is
people found ways
yeah, but
to rectify their situation, as you may or may not have heard in the news. And then so Japan Fest is coming up this weekend.
oh, in Mississauga.
Yep.
Yeah, our old friend Andrew Kaidaj is like the Anime North's MC. He's tightly associated with that as well. So there'll be a few acts there. There'll be a few acts there for sure, and Anime North will put on a block of programming for an hour as well.
So the current festival headliner is Machiko, who has sung a number of different anime songs. So she's sung songs for Konosuba. She's done one of the Pretty Cure songs as well, and she's done some voice acting too.
Okay, Hakuho, the great sumo wrestler Hakuho was there either last year or the year before. But this is not an insignificant thing. This is a relatively large thing for the GTA Japan Fest. So that happens in Mississauga. That'll happen at City Hall there. And
looks like they made another announcement not too long ago that Sarina is also going to be making an appearance too. So yeah. I don't know who this person is, but I do recognize some of the songs or some of the titles that were like used. Like, so apparently she did some songs for like Triangle Strategy, which is a Square Enix RPG for the Switch.
It's pretty cool. Well,
among other things, yeah. So
and whenever we mention Japan Fest, it's worth underscoring that Mississauga has a twin city relationship with Kariya City and Aichi Prefecture. So this kind of stuff isn't just out of thin air. There has been a lot of Japanese aspects in Mississauga for some years. So there you go.
And then also Crystal K is coming to Toronto as well.
And that rounds out the summer? Pretty much?
And I'm trying to remember when Yoko Takahashi's coming, because she's coming too. Let me see, because so the Evangelion Wind Symphony is going to be happening, and that's August 26th. And Yoko Takahashi will be making an appearance to perform with the orchestra.
Now that would be a hell of a thing to see.
So that's Tuesday, August 26th, and
that's at the Meridian. That's at the Sony Center, or now what you call Sony Center, but what's now called Meridian Hall.
And I'll be watching her at Anime NYC instead, because that's a joint concert that they're going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind this, like Meridian Hall, like this is where the Final Fantasy concert is taking place too. So, like Dear Friends we saw Dear Friends there more than a decade ago, but same place.
And then
interesting. I didn't realize she was coming to town. Actually,
and Crystal K is coming on Sunday, August 24th. So she's gonna be in Toronto the day I come back from Anime NYC. She's performing on Thursday in New York. So I was debating on which one to go to, actually.
Still pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's right. And worth mentioning again, Anime NYC takes place the same weekend as Fan Expo Canada.
Yep. And that was a conscious decision that my friends and I made.
You do what you have to, dude.
Because Fan Expo doesn't hold a lot of appeal when there's not a lot of anime programming.
Yeah. Well, that's an ongoing thing, right? That's an ongoing debate.
Yeah.
But okay, that's where we are. That's where we are in history. Okay.
But those are the people performing like in the near future.
Right. And I guess we'll talk more about the past it, next recording. And it probably will be, and that next recording chances are will happen before those concerts actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one last thing. And let's and then we'll end it off. How do I put this? Vishojo. What the hell,
Mhm.
man? What the hell, man?
So tell me, what do you know about this?
They're gone?
Yep.
Yeah.
They folded, yes.
They folded because they just did not have any money to give to their crew, to their talent. That's the short version.
Yes.
But it just I think
Well,
just
I thought they didn't have money to give their talents. It was more so that $500,000 worth of charity money is not accounted for.
yeah, partly that too.
Not partly. That's the main reason
Well,
why.
I mean, that's how it blew up, and that's how it started to collapse.
That
and
is
then
the
all
reason
these
why.
and then all this other stuff came out afterwards.
Okay,
Okay,
so
give me
and
give me
that is-
give me the Coles notes. Give me the Coles notes.
okay, so I think this was last year.
Mhm.
Every year, Iron Mouse, who is I'd say she's the most popular indie VTuber. The most popular female indie VTuber. She does a charity. She does a charity donation marathon stream, or like she does a number of them, I think. But she basically runs like a donation marathon every year, in support for the Immunodeficiency Foundation, I believe it's called.
Mhm.
The acronym is the IDF, but I try not to use IDF because the IDF can also mean like I think the Israeli Defense Force. So then I tried to say the whole name of the charity.
It's like saying WWF back in the day, but okay.
Yeah.
This is a tough story. Like reading about it, it's just yeah. But
let me see if I can look this up properly.
Yeah, because VTubers, the VTube world better than I do, right?
It's the Immune Deficiency Foundation. There you go.
Okay, makes you get the name properly out there. Okay, you know about this better than I do. About the VTube world.
So it's not the first time she's done it. So in past years, great success. The money didn't disappear. The money went to the IDF. This time, it did not. And what started happening this year was that some of Shoujo's talents were leaving. So it started, I believe, with Matsura Khan, who we've talked about in the past. Her departure from VShojo was apparently considered to be a firing. I think people were saying how like the contract renewal didn't go well, but for whatever reason, apparently it was considered a firing. And Matsura Khan acknowledged this as such, and she will not elaborate why, and that's fine.
There could be that could be a contract. That could be that could be the fine print right there.
Because the suspicion was that because VShojo is botching up their merchandise selling. They had a lot of issues with selling merchandise last year. So I think to mitigate some of that, she decided to use her friend and air quotes work husband, Bricky, who's a famous streamer in his own right, to use his merch company instead. And people suspect that's why. Because it's like maybe they felt like she wanted to keep on going with them, but then VShojo thought that, okay, we're okay now. You don't need to go back to him. Like that's the rumor, right? We don't truly know why. And then another VTuber named Giga, who's under VShojo, also left recently, stating that she decided that it was fine that she could do this on her own. Giga's always been very business minded, so it didn't seem like a stretch for her to leave. if she felt like she could do this stuff on her own. And then Zentreya left. And Zentreya is considered arguably probably in their top 3, I would say.
She's up there. That's the bottom line.
Longtime streamer, before she became a VTuber even. She's very well known. So she's known for using a TTS to talk to chat. So like we don't even know what she sounds like in real life, let alone know what she looks like. So she left as well.
So there's all these exoduses.
So there's people leaving, and some staff were leaving too. I don't remember their names right now, but like there was at least 2 or 3 different prominent staff members leaving VShojo as well. So now people are like, okay, what's going on? Right?
I guess I'd be saying that too.
And then
this is before the whole charity thing.
And this was before, this was before Iron Mouse then chose to reveal that the IDF didn't get their $500,000 from the last charity run. And she hasn't been paid for various collaborations in quite a while. So generally speaking, when it comes to the actual Twitch proceeds, the streamers get that. Apparently, VShojo doesn't touch that. That's part of the contract. When it comes to collaborations and merch sales, that's where VShojo takes their cut. So once Iron Mouse brought this up, then it seemed like everyone started talking. And so Iron Mouse decided to leave as a result.
Yeah, that's part of the fallout there. That's part of the fallout.
And so once Iron Mouse decided to leave, everybody else followed suit.
Yeah.
Because it was later revealed that a number of the talents were not paid in months when it came to these extra proceeds. And then it was later revealed as well. So some of the talents who left earlier, back 2 or 3 years ago, so we're talking about specifically Silvervale, Vebe, and I think it was Vey. Yeah, pretty sure it was Vey. Or was it Feifei? I don't remember. No, I think it was Feifei. And Natasha Nanners, they because they left at roughly the same time, and they finally started mentioning that, yep, we were under NDA to not talk about this stuff, but this was largely what happened to them when they left, where they were not given favorable contract terms on renewal, and so they decided to leave. Among other like little controversies that happened before then. So, and then it was, and then more shit hit the fan because like, one of the, you know who Kason is.
Yeah, Kason. Oh yeah.
So Kason wanted answers too. And she also hadn't been paid for some stuff in quite a while. And she actually on a stream called up the Japanese VShojo CEO to talk about what's going on and ask like what the hell is going on. And he only knew so much too, because even though he was the CEO, he acknowledged that like I only do so much, and there's only so much I can say because of what I know, and obviously for legal reasons. But he actually tried to answer things in the best way he could. And Kason quit right on the middle of stream, which I thought was pretty funny.
Misappropriation, yeah.
And the rest of the Japanese talent quit too, so including Henya and the 3 or 4 members of VShojo Nova, which was like a new Japanese group that was debuting at the same time. So basically, in a matter of maybe 2 or 3 days, everyone quit. So then and then obviously, like the founder, Gunrun, decided that can't do this anymore because now we don't have any talent.
And that's game, set, match.
And it's real. But the thing is that we don't think this money can ever be recovered.
No, well, that's the other part. Yeah.
Because basically, because here's
I
the
don't see
thing.
it.
Here's the thing. They received $11 million in VC money.
Yeah, I know.
And they burned it all. And so they basically burned that all in 3 to 4 years.
Kind of impressive, actually.
Yeah. Because sometimes when it comes to advertising, a lot of the times it is pay to play. So they apparently were there was a time where they did pay for advertisement at Tokyo Station for VShojo, and the words simply say talent freedom. And how ironic does that sound now, eh?
Yeah, well, they're free, all right.
Because that's one of the big selling points of VShojo is that you own your own model, we won't own it, we give you all your Twitch proceeds. So they were all about pro streamer, right? Because if you look at all the other corporations, they own your model.
Yeah.
So if you choose to go independent, your chances are you're going to have to relinquish your model. And so when you start back off on your own,
you're starting from scratch, and we talked about that last year, right?
You're basically starting from scratch, and you hope that your dedicated fans can find you and spread the word.
And you're not allowed to really search for them. You kind of have to.
You have to really make that effort to search. Or some companies did give their talent the option to buy back their model, so to speak, or buy their model from them. So not all of them were evil, but at least that was at least like a
depends on the price. Yeah, depends on the price, though, dude.
It'll depend on the price. Yeah. So yeah, this was like a whole shit show, because then more and more comments came out from under the woodwork. So then the thing was that relationships were damaged during this whole time because the initial 3 women who left earlier, so Silvervale and Yanners, and I have to make sure. I'm pretty sure it was Feifei. Yeah. I double check. Oh no, I think was it Faye or was it Feifei? Ugh, I can't. Bad memory, but anyway, it was it was so bad. And then you hear more and more about what the staff did and how creepy some of them were, and how people would keep on talking shit behind other people's backs, the usual unfortunate things you hear about.
There's a yikes
yeah
thing when I read about this, though.
It's evident to me that clearly they decided that we want to pay our friends, and when we think about the staff, right, the whole cavalcade of people that knew each other within the company, they were the ones that they made sure that their friends got paid well, but then they didn't make sure that the talent got paid for their
basically
sponsors.
Let's just say the proper people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Anyway,
so it's just a shame all around. Apparently there is some indication that some of these relations are being repaired at this moment. But but then you have some people going they're Iron Mouse was. I think Iron Mouse took over a week off from streaming when all this happened. Kayson's tweet was pretty sad in the sense that she kind of rage tweeted saying how yeah, guys, laugh at me and laugh at how I truly believe that the company was really gonna help me, but then in the end they just screwed me over. That was pretty sad because she was part of Hololive, so not her first time with the corporation,
and she took a chance.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like. And this is like anybody who wants to laugh at her. This is part of like these are people just trying to make something of this, right? Make something of doing this type of stuff. And I constantly talk about, okay, we for us, well, we can't, we just do this on the side. So we can only dedicate so much, but there are those who kind of sell themselves to the whole process. And it sucks when you sell yourself to anything, to when you put in that type of work into anything and you have little to show for it. This is any walk of life. This is anything you do, right? Those same people who probably went after Kason, who were laughing at Kason, what did they, I'm pretty sure a lot of them have done something. They put all their effort into something and probably have almost nothing to show for it. It's a very hollow feeling.
Even Nazuna Amemiya commented on the situation. So she was a former VShojo VTuber, but she's also more popularly known as Mikineko.
That name sounds familiar.
Who is also previously known as Uda Harushia from Hololive. So she was the one who was involved in the scandal with Mofu Mofu. I believe we talked about this.
Briefly, yes. Some time back.
More known as the one of the most popular Menhera VTubers. But she actually brought up how like she did feel like they brought her on just for her name and then like didn't really give her the support that she needed, in the sense that like it took them too long to try and get Japanese talents on to join alongside her. And one thing that if I remember correctly reading this, she was like, she didn't like how they would raid her to other streamers because with her type of, the way she does her content is she does the girlfriend experience content. So then it's not to her advantage to have her raid out to other people, because then maybe other VTubers will catch their attention more than her. So the fact that she brought that up, I couldn't help but laugh.
Kind of a use there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, of course you wouldn't want to be rated to other people, given like the type of content you do.
Yeah, it's it doesn't. Yeah, it already sounds kind of off, I guess.
But it was very eye-opening to see like her thoughts of what happened during that time.
And the list just seems to go on.
Yeah, even like Hime Hajime, who's also known as it's not really a secret. She's Sydney from Geeks Plus.
Yep.
Cause she VTubes from time to time as Hime Hajime, and yep, she brought up her thoughts on that. I think what was truly sad though was, well, not truly sad, like one other aspect that I thought was quite sad on top of the charity funds disappearing and the stress that Iron Mouse had to endure as a result, was the fact that back in 2024 there were open auditions for like to have more VTubers to join VShojo. And this got delayed by quite a bit. So the auditions took place in maybe around this time last year. There was an open call. And people were contacted back in August, like to continue to the next round. We didn't hear much after that. So Zentrea was the one pushing for this. And what's significant is that like she caught a lot of flack because there was a lack of updates on this.
Right.
Because this was sort of something that she was trying to push. Because it's been known that VShojo usually only brought on VTubers that were relatively popular, or VTubers that were already known by the existing members. So people always felt that VShojo was a bit of a nepo company in that sense.
Yeah,
So-
that came out pretty good, didn't it?
Because they also did auditions back in 2021 and nothing ever came of it. So Zentrea like truly felt like they needed new blood, and so that's why this was her way of trying to get more involved in the process and to try and combat the thought that like no, like we do want new people to join.
This is above board. Well, yeah.
And it's sad because she took all the shit for it. But
Well,
really,
she was the one who wanted it above board.
and so, but in the end, it's, you know, whoever at top who makes these decisions were just not, they didn't put out any statements. They kind of just let Zentrea take all the abuse, like the verbal abuse online. And sad because like Amelie joined, like Monarch or Amelie, who's also a famous voice actress in her own right. She joined towards the end of last year, and they didn't even put out a statement about that. Like, because Zentrea apparently really wanted to have wanted VShojo to put out a statement saying that like, this she's not part of the auditions. Hers was just in the works for a year, but then her and Amelie had to put out a joint statement together about it, which kind of foisted it all on them. So it's felt kind of shitty. But so yeah, at least 3 of the other talents were revealed to be Tori Oriane, Berrybug, and PAP UFO. And I do watch 2 of the 3. So it was pretty shocking to see that that they were gonna be the ones, because I actually do watch them from time to time, and they're pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, this is not like I hear about this, but it's not. I admit it's just not something I could keep up with.
So they had to pay some of their costs out of pocket too. Like they did have to pay some costs that they were supposed to be reimbursed for, and doesn't look like that's happening. Also, there's been some artists coming out of the woodwork saying that they were not paid by VShojo either for certain services rendered. So it's just
That's a game, set, match, right? And
that money's gone. That money's gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the fallout continues from all of that. I mean, we'll all do. I mean, you're only telling us just so much, but obviously there's still more to the story, and we're just keeping up with it as best we could.
It's sad. It's so sad.
Well, I mean, the whole VTuber thing, and I keep underscoring that it's sort of out of my own grasp, but it's there. So I try to understand it, but I'm clearly not the demographic.
Long story short, yeah, a company that was touted as being very friendly and fair towards talents, it turns out they really weren't.
Yeah.
And the sentiment seems to be that when they started this company, there were good intentions behind it, but it just all went awry because they basically, it boils down to like their business model really didn't work as it should. So then
was it but like, is there a model that could work though? I guess if we knew it would be in play already, I guess.
I hate to say it, but I don't know if letting your talents own their model outright, I don't know if that's feasible.
If it makes business sense?
Yeah, because if you're letting them own their model, because it basically means they could run whenever they want, right? But if you own their model, they kind of do have to be forced to stay, which could be interpreted as a good or a bad thing. But if you treat your employees well anyway, then why would they want to leave?
That's one way to put it, right?
Because I look at FaZe Connect, which is it is a VTuber company that's run by a Canadian on the West Coast, known as Sakana. It seems like he has a mix of his talents are a mix of those who are brand new, and so they would own the rights to that. But then they also do have a subset of VTubers called the Phase Invaders, where they do bring on indie VTubers and their own IPs into the company. And whether or not the VTubers still own their models is unknown. I actually don't know because I haven't done the research. But it's like I think it's a healthy mix. Is there's a balance there, and then he treats them just well enough that there doesn't seem to be any big problems. Not that they've never had problems.
Yeah, well, at least there hasn't been any bad PR that has blown up.
Not lately. Yeah.
So maybe that's worth something, and certainly not fatal. Well, another one bites the dust, I guess, in that sense, right? Anyway, that's really, I don't know what else to add because, well, for starters, we're over 2 hours. But there isn't much else to add. As I said, we do this just to try and catch up a little bit. So.
I'll say one more good thing that came out of this.
What's that?
So right afterwards, Iron Mouse once again started running donations for the Immune Deficiency Foundation to kind of make up for the funds that got lost, right?
And where has that gone?
I believe it did hit 1.2 million this time around.
I guess that's a good trade.
And she made sure this time to set it up through Tiltify so that, yes, all the money is going to go to them.
Silver lining, and maybe golden, because at least they doubled up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate in the sense that the other reason why we don't think anything will come out of this is because if they choose to sue, that likely means that Iron Mouse will have to provide her actual legal name. And Iron Mouse takes her privacy very seriously. And it's why during the past donathon streams, she let VShojo do all the handling of the donations on her behalf because she didn't want her name to be revealed. That was why.
Yeah, well, that's the cost sometimes, or that's the risk involved.
And that was what indeed the risk, and it did.
It just didn't
turn out well.
Yeah, it didn't turn out well, but
not this time.
Yeah. Well, there's the story right there. That's part of the story, and there's always more to it, and probably more. You got to think there's still a little bit more to come out on this.
I think there'll be more stories in terms of, you'll hear more stories from the people who were part of auditions, either from last year or from 2021. Those have come out as well, steadily. You will hear more accounts of bad things. Some of the high ups that VShojo did. That's started to happen as well.
Anyway.
Yeah, very unfortunate stuff.
Yeah.
But it seems like not only with the really great donation run currently, there has been seems like relations are being mended in the background. Because there was fallout from when the first group of girls quit. So that's a good thing to hear too.
You hope. I mean, you don't like to see anybody left behind in that sense. Anyway, but you know what? We should leave this behind. 2 hours, 9 minutes. That's probably as much as we should talk about because there's other stuff we all have to do, like work. Look, this was, as I said, this was very much thrown together. I didn't move the microphones from where I usually have it on my little table for when I stream, right? So it's not set up for like the podcast configuration. I'm actually literally sitting in front of the television. Basically the setup I use when we stream. So just hooked up the microphone. So I'm not in a fairly comfortable position for constant conversation. My back hurts now. Look, but it also sets up basically basically we set the time for how long the over under on figuring out the golf challenge tomorrow, or when I stream again. But as I said, it was just we're doing this just because we all want to catch up a little bit and catch up with each other and seeing what all the other stuff we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
James has his stuff, and he'll talk about that next week. I know Mohammed, for his part, sent us those images of people grading their first edition manga, like comic books. I'm not totally sure what to make of that, but that's been a trend, and what to make of it. Don't say anything now because I don't want it to go for another half hour.
I've said ugh is all I can really say.
That's
right
probably all we can really say. But there's it does make you ponder just a little bit. And Amy, we've already mentioned, she pops by in the streams every so often and gives me a thought. By the way, just a quick follow up on the books, because you saw in one of the streams of my damaged books, right? I did get
Yep.
I got replacements.
That's good.
So all my books are okay now. And they did take back the other ones, and I showed them the one that was the volume of Blue Box that was stuck to the package.
Yeah.
Needless to say, they found that interesting. And to be fair to Indigo, it probably wasn't Indigo that packed it. Somebody else did on their behalf, but yeah, it just didn't look good. But it's good to have it all solved now. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'll tell you more about it. Off air. Hey, if you want to hear what we say off air, come and see it live. Just let us know. Just let us know if you want to see us tape live. Anyway, but that's it. You made it to the end of these couple hours. Let us know what you think wherever you're watching or listening to this. Either in the comments down below if you're seeing this on YouTube, or animeroundtable.com. If in fact you are actually listening to this on YouTube, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. It'll greatly help us and the Roundtable as a whole. And while you're at it, at Anime Roundtable, or do yourself one final favor, give us a subscribe on YouTube, a follow on Twitch, and a bookmark wherever you get your podcasts. That way we'll definitely see you back here next time. Or just keeping it simple, at Anime Roundtable on most socials. Anyway, 2 hours are up. Thanks for the time, Kevin. I know it's long, but it was just good to catch up.
I was itching to talk anyway.
Yeah, we're all itching to chat again, right? And hopefully we can really get down to it, and at the very least be able to do a recording once a week, whether it's an episode or just a few of us just chatting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue the conversation by the Space Eaters again soon.
All right.
Thanks for listening to whoever who did, and next week for sure. Next week. Talk to you later.
Thanks for listening, everybody.